My name's Scott Meyer with Patrice and Associates, here for the Q&A State of the Industry, as always, every Friday at 2:30 p.m. This week we have Matt Plapp. He joins us with ROI Experts, and he's going to discuss the state of the marketplace with a third-party delivery, kind of where we are now, where we're going. So a little bit about Matt. He's an author, coach, marketer. He's been in the business since 1999, and this aspect of the marketing speaking. He's had his own company, ROI Experts, since 2008. His focus is on ROI. He wants to help clients, and he's got a real focus on relationships and building trust and for the future. So, like I said, the focus is going to be state of the third-party delivery now and going forward. So Matt, do you want to first tell us a little about yourself and your company before we get started?
Yeah, I think you did a pretty good job of it. But Matt Plapp, been around since 1999, had an agency focusing mainly on digital marketing since 2008. Unique background in that I've been on about every side of the table. In 99, out of college, I started selling radio advertising. My dad's a sales trainer and a sales beast and trained me the same way. I was once told in my first sales job in radio, I told a client I'd never been in sales before, and he said, "Matt, I bet you talked yourself out of a butt kicking many times as a kid." And I'm like, yeah, I actually did. And the thing I liked about advertising sales in the radio world was I got to talk to hundreds of companies a month about what was working for them. And if you did a good job and you were friends with them, and you had actual, their needs at heart, they would spill the beans. They'd tell you everything. A friend of mine told me after he got his master's at Xavier in marketing, who works at P&G, when he saw what I did in radio for a couple of years, he's like, "Matt, you've got more experience in those sessions with customers than I'd ever get with 100 master's degrees." So that's where I cut my teeth. At the same time, my dad and my brother and myself wanted to get together and start a business. So in 99, around the same time I started radio, actually 6 months afterwards, I bought a book on website design, and we created a boat and RV consignment website. Within 3 months, it had a location in Erlanger, and within 3 years, we were doing about $7 million in sales annually. So I left in 03 to run that completely, and from 03 to 08, really cut my teeth in digital marketing. And that's when 08, we decided to get out of the business. We decided all to go our separate ways. My dad wanted to kind of semi-retire. My brother wanted to go to a typical 9-to-5 job. It's kind of what he's geared for. And I wanted to go to consulting. So I started consulting with businesses on digital marketing. And you can imagine, back in 2008, when I walked into the office of a restaurant owner and said, "Hey, I want to show you this thing called Facebook," they had a lot of laughs at my expense. They didn't think I knew what I was talking about. I didn't know to the extent now that I knew I was talking about then. But we started helping a lot of businesses with their digital marketing and even their traditional marketing, radio, TV, billboards, because most businesses just do not do a good job of marketing. They do advertising. And I always say advertising is easy. You write somebody a check or give them a credit card. Marketing, you have to put something behind it. So 2010, I really started focusing more. We were mostly local. 08 to 010 was kind of running around, trying to get my bearings. 2010 focused mainly on small businesses, very niche. And then by 2016, decided to focus only on restaurants. And in 2018, wrote a couple books. Andy, we have wheels on the chair. So I wrote this book, Don't 86 Your Restaurant Sales, meaning don't lose your sales. It's a digital marketing game plan to market restaurants. And then I wrote last year, Sell More Slices, which is a little more in-depth, updated version. And I've got 2 more books coming out this year. But we focus on helping restaurants use a marketing attention to grow a database, and then use that database to consistently drive sales or have deeper relationships. And that's what we do in a nutshell.
Oh, great. I know that a big focus right now, is companies that have the database, making sure you're using it effectively and understand their database. And the other aspect is for the companies that don't have it, how do they get a database? And then from there, we've got, a big aspect right now is obviously delivery. So whether you use a third-party vendor, whether you create your own database and you interject it yourself. And I know yourself are more in the marketing, but with so many clients that are using delivery, figure we kind of start off and kind of talk about what's out there to begin with. So we've got, there's Yelp, Open Door, you've got Caviar, Seamless, Deliveroo, Food Panda, Bite Squad, and obviously the big guys, Grubhub, DoorDash, Postmates, Uber Eats. So would you mind kind of just maybe talking about what you see with those big guys and kind of how things are working right now in this state of the union?
Okay. Yeah. First, I saw something in your comments. Somebody said the books. Yeah. If anybody wants a book, just email support@mattplapp.com, and I'll have my publisher mail out a copy of each book to you. So if you're on this, watching this, whenever, support@mattplapp.com. They'll send the books out free of charge as a gift for being on here. But, you know, third-party delivery is kind of comical to me because I actually saw a post a few months ago that said, who would have thought, we grew up with our parents telling us, don't trust strangers, don't get in a car with somebody, don't talk to a stranger. And it was like, man, I just got out of a stranger's car. I went into a stranger's apartment, Airbnb, and then I ordered food and some stranger brought it to my house. And so it's comical of where we've come and how quickly over the last, 5 to 10 years with regards to digital. But I saw it a lot the last 12 months, and then I travel a lot. And when I would travel and I go somewhere, and typically I know restaurants where I'm at, but I'm also in a house and I'm, everybody's tired of ordering pizza all the time. And so we'd get to the house we were staying in, we'd have 15 or 20 of us there. We'd get on Uber Eats, we'd look it up. And we never took into account on our end the 30% commission that restaurant's paying that fee. It's an acquisition cost. That restaurant would have never got me in those other cities had it not been for that service, Uber Eats. And then from a convenience side of me, I don't care about paying 10 or 20 bucks to have food delivered to me. That's different than pizza. So I used it a lot when I traveled. I rarely used it at home. And then recently, with a lot of our clients we deal with, 2-3 months ago, I got majority of my clients talking about third-party delivery was a no-go. This place, Max Pizza Pub, is down in Covington, Kentucky. And I guess they've got more locations. I've only been to the one in Covington, which on there's Main Straws. And I've been there twice, but it was always kind of like where we were at in that part of town and we went eating there. I had never made it a reason to actually go there. And I was sitting in my office downtown. We're on Main Street and over the Rhine, and we have exhausted every food the last month within walking distance of here. And so we're like, man, what can we get different? So I got on Uber Eats and I saw Max. I'm like, oh man, they got good wings. I'm going to order that. So I got it. And the thing that kind of stuck out to me that got 2 more orders from them, I've always talked about this. Uber Eats and third-party delivery, I always use Uber Eats because that's what I use. So when I say that third-party delivery is an acquisition tool that you should use to acquire a customer. You should not hope to get Matt Plapp many times on Uber Eats, because if I'm ordering Uber Eats 10 times from your restaurant on their app, you've done a crappy job of getting me to contact you directly, which unless there's an issue where I can't go to your place, but this is a good example. This menu came the first time I ordered, and if you can see the Post-it note, it says, we will deliver 5 miles, call this number. Well, guess what I've done the last 2 times? We've called that number. So we've spent, today's bill was like 30 or 40 bucks. The last one was 30 or 40 bucks. That's $9 they saved on 2 orders, $18, because they put this Post-it note on the menu in the bag. That's the only one I've ever seen do that. And that is a really simple task. And I've told my clients that, like, hey, if you're going to use third party, you need to have a way to move them over. It's no different than Groupon a couple years ago. We've been doing Groupons, and I don't even know if Living Social exists anymore, but Living Social existed back in the day. But when clients of ours would do Groupon, they would ask us, hey, how do we do this? I'm like, well, our goal of Groupon is to be a one and done with that customer. We want to get that customer in on Groupon. But when they walk in your restaurant, you have to have a means to get their name, their email, their phone number, their birthday, so that you can get them back again. Don't just hope they come back, and don't just plan on spending money with Groupon again to get them back. But unfortunately, that's what most restaurants do. Most businesses in general, they use advertising to, I call it, it's a shot in the arm. It's, hey, we're going to do this Groupon, and we're going to get $5,000 in sales next week and 20 for the month. Boom. Well, 2 months from now, okay, we need that shot in the arm again. Let's go back to it. So one thing I always hammer home is, what are you doing when you do those initiatives to capture that person on that first visit, kind of like Max did? Now, they didn't capture my information yet, but they at least got me their number, and I've called and ordered. So I think that's a key element of these. I've told my clients that numerous times, because a lot of my clients, up until this whole coronavirus thing, were fighting third party. I have one client in particular. I had told him numerous times, like, hey, you ought to at least have this out there. Don't market it by any means. Let Uber Eats market it. That's the goal. It's a marketing platform. But have the opportunity so that a customer who might not know who you exist at least can find you on there and try your food out. And then if you do a good job with the food and marketing to them, maybe they'll come sit down at your restaurant. All of a sudden, coronavirus hits. They've never done third-party delivery. They sign up, and then every other Facebook post they make for 2 weeks is marketing third-party delivery. So it's just to me kind of ironic.
Yeah, so I think that you mentioned something to me. You're saying about the the not paying $7 to $10 the consumer wise.
Yeah.
So one of my thoughts is going in the future when it's $7, $8, $10, and I know there's fee things are waived right now, but I anticipate that once this is over with, some of those freebies will go away, and you're gonna will everybody want to spend $10 on every delivery that's out there? That's right now no big deal. Of course, it makes sense instead of going out, but what do you think about that? Like the cost of pays, and with a lot of these restaurants, major thin margins, you've got the consumer costs, you've got up to 30% of costs. What is obviously if you do it yourself, you lower your costs, but you've got to figure all that out. What are your thoughts on that aspect?
I read a good article this morning that somebody shared on LinkedIn that talked about the restaurants did this to themselves with regards to pricing and thin margins, and how, like, I saw a number that 3% have already closed their doors for good, that they didn't even have 1 month of rent in the bank, that when that 1 month hit, they were done. And they said one of the reasons was they all got into a price war 10, 20 years ago, to where it used to be 20 or 30 years ago going out to restaurants, it almost costs the same now as it did then. I mean, I'm 43 years old. Me and my wife don't cook at home very often. We eat out a lot. She's actually making lasagna tonight. And I can tell you, I've never had lasagna for my wife in 21 years of marriage. Like, I didn't know she knew how to make it when she told me this morning. I'm like, oh, you know how to make lasagna? And so we always eat out. Our food bill, eating out, hasn't changed in 15 years. The only ones that got more expensive were Chipotle and McDonald's and Wendy's. They still have their dollar menus, but for the most part, some of their normal stuff has crept up. But like a Quaker Steak and Lube, a Barley Corns, that bill was $40 for 3 of us 20 years ago. It's $40 today. And the article talked about how casual dining and a lot of local restaurants haven't kept their pricing up with inflation. And so what's happened is their margins are razor thin. And when your margins are razor thin, you don't have much room for error, and you don't have much room for things like Uber Eats, because it literally takes away 30% right off the top. What I've always promoted back then, and I'm surprised Uber Eats them don't go after this enough, is you shouldn't have your regular menu on Uber Eats. It's a convenience for me to be able to enjoy Max wings and pizza at my office versus get my car out of the parking garage, walk in the rain a block, drive down there, find parking, walk in there, maybe wait for a table, sit, have a server, have an hour and a half process to do all of that, versus sit here and eat in 20 minutes and be done. That's a convenience. I should be willing to pay a premium for that, and I am. But the problem is a lot of these restaurants, they got their same menu that's on Uber Eats, that's in their restaurant. And it's like, well, that's the first mistake, is that you shouldn't be submitting your menu to them, that if this item costs $15 in your restaurant, it shouldn't cost me $15 to get it at my office. It should cost me $20, because now you just insulated. Now you just took that 30% margin and you added it on top. So the fact that me ordering from Uber Eats doesn't penalize you. It penalizes me because I'm being a lazy ass and I'm sitting in my office. But at the same time, I never forget about, this is probably 2 years ago, I owned a gym in Erlanger, Kentucky as well. My partners were 2 people in it. I'm sitting in my office and they would crack up because I have an office there, and once a week, typically I work from there because I just like the atmosphere, the energy of people working out. Of course, now there's no energy there, it's empty. But I would order food. I would order Chipotle, which is literally across the street. I mean, not even joking. You go out the door, you walk 500 feet, there's Chipotle in Erlanger. And I would order Chipotle delivered. And people say, dude, are you that lazy you can't get up and go do it? I'm like, no, I've got 4 hours I'm going to be here. Eating for me is just something that has to happen at this point. And I'm trying to, so if I get up and go there, waiting in line, driving my car there, probably because I talk so damn much, walking past somebody in the gym and talking to them, it's an hour process. I get on my phone, I order the burrito, it shows up 20 minutes later, I eat it for 5 minutes, I'm back to work. So I just saved myself 55 minutes. And if I can save myself 55 minutes at what I charge, I just saved $1,000. So when I pay $5 extra for a burrito to save $1,000, yeah. And so that's where I think restaurants really messed up. I think that's where Uber Eats and them need to come back to the restaurants and be able to say, hey, you need to raise your prices on and they need to allow it, because sometimes they don't. Back when they first started doing Uber Eats, I had restaurant clients that submitted their menus. Hey, here's my menu. And then when I saw it and said, no, you need to raise your prices, Uber Eats said, oh, no, we got to have the exact prices in your restaurant. I'm like, that's BS. This isn't the same services in the restaurant. You're saving on tip. Like if I go to Barleycorns and eat, I'm going to tip $15. If I get it delivered to me, I'm not tipping anybody $15 typically. Maybe the driver might get $5. So I just saved $10. That $10 you go to the restaurant in regards to like a premium service. So that's, to me, that's a big avenue where a lot of them have messed up. What I think Uber Eats messed up on just enormously during this, in my opinion, now I don't know their numbers and I don't even know if they're privately or publicly held. Uber Eats has accomplished something that very few companies can do. I can't get many of my restaurants to advertise Matt Plapp. They aren't going to advertise me. If they did, I might have more restaurant clients. But Uber Eats went from being the most hated thing for a lot of restaurants to, what is it? I guess it's been 4 weeks, 5 weeks ago. Every restaurant's like, oh, we're available on third party. Uber Eats, Grubhub, this, Postmates, go here, click here. They all of a sudden turned into the advertising medium for third party delivery companies. What I thought should have happened, if I owned Uber Eats and I had a bank account and some investors and I said, okay, here's an opportunity. We've got 2 months where restaurants are going to advertise us free of charge, where consumers are going to be forced to use us, and we're going to create a pattern and a habit that they're not going to want to change. Because I heard from a friend of mine the other day, he's like, Matt, this is awesome. I'm sitting on my sofa, I'm watching Netflix, I'm eating my favorite buffalo wings. I didn't have to get up and go get them. And he's like, I probably won't go to the restaurant ever again. I'll just order online. That was the exact comment. Because it's convenience. It's now I don't have to get up. I don't have to get in my car. I don't have to drive. I mean, none of us, I live in Union. It takes me 15 minutes to get to Barleycorns 5 miles away. So it's 15 minutes saved each way. I don't have to wait in line. I don't have to wait on my drink coming. I don't have to worry about a baby crying next to me because my wife, for whatever reason, we have kids, she despises going to restaurants and being stuck with kids next to us. And I'm like, have you ever met our kids? They're annoying as hell. But she's that person, I guess. And so there's all these things that consumers have gained. I can promise you there's a very large segment of the population that has been spoiled by third-party delivery and is not coming back into your restaurant as frequently as they used to. And that's why I thought third-party delivery companies should have been going to the restaurants from day one and going, hey, you know what? We're waiving the 30% for the next 2 months. We're waiving delivery fees. We're going to eat the $10 million it's going to cost because they're a huge company. I mean, obviously they're huge. We're going to waive this. We're going to eat this $10 to $20 million as a marketing expense because we're going to brainwash consumers to use our product in 2 months. And that's what's going to kind of happen. But it's interesting to see how restaurants come back from that. Because if you look at, I did a video a couple weeks ago where I added it up. I said, what if 100 customers don't come back every week at $40 order, which is 30%, which is $12. 100 customers times $12 is $12,000. That's 48 grand a month. Actually, it's 4,800 a month times, $4,800 a month that you're not getting back. Times 12 months, that's $50,000 that you're not going to get back in revenue because your customers aren't coming to your restaurant anymore.
No, I tell you what, I think I watched that video. It's a great video. Just you kind of wrote it out, kind of simplified it, and that's kind of what thought me to bring you on here, because I'm always looking for content to share and and that's out there. And obviously turn the page now. Obviously yesterday Trump coming out and saying that things are open state by state, so every state's going to be a little different. Depends on what happens. But next 2 weeks, who knows what's going to happen? We'll find out real soon. But it's the biggest thing I've seen is is trust in restaurants, right? How do you trust them? Safety and value. And these last few weeks, month now almost, it's who has been out there, putting marketing, getting their company ready. Because a couple of things that I noticed, like on those facts, that 78% these are different facts I read just recently. 78% of people actually order through the actual restaurant website, and only 22% were third party. And this is before the rush.
Okay.
But that tells you that still a lot of people are going straight to the restaurant. So what is your thought for restaurants that are trying to get that game back, trying to make a change? Because third party's not going away. It's going to get larger for quite a while. You want to have both worlds, get people back in when they can, because this can be slow and gradual. You want to slow and gradually increase the delivery till you can come to a medium and get things back. So what are your thoughts there, like how to do that?
So number one, I think there needs to be a shift in mindset from businesses, because number one, Uber Eats is a marketing platform. Just like I have a marketing platform, the ROI Engine, Uber Eats is an advertising medium. It's a radio station. They have an audience. That audience sees your product, they order, they eat your food. I've always said this. I always tell clients, the biggest problem people have in marketing is they spend money and they acquire nothing except the sale. That if you run an advertising campaign, and that advertising, let's say you run a Reach magazine campaign, drives me crazy. I've got one restaurant I know of that's been the same coupon in Reach magazine for 10 years going. Same offer. We surveyed their customers and found out that 60% of them were coming in regardless, but the ones who used the coupon, but they knew the $10 off was in there every month, so they used it. So I'm like, let me get this right. You just spent $3,900 for your half-page ad citywide in Reach. For 60% of the people to use the coupon, which was 1,400 people was the 60% number, to use a $10 coupon. So you just spent $3,900 to give away $7,000 in margin. Good investment. And so one thing I've always been adamant on with clients is whenever you spend $1 on marketing, it needs to be to acquire data, not sales. Meaning that if you can reach Matt Plapp through Reach Magazine, don't put the coupon in Reach Magazine, which seems completely crazy. Make them go somewhere from your coupon. Scan this QR code. Go to our website. Give us your name and your email, your birthday and your phone number, and we'll give you an amazing offer, a free pizza, free buffalo wings, a free payday candy bar, whatever. Give them something for free so that once you acquire my information, now you can market to me more often. You know, I've used the example as a restaurant in Northern Kentucky called Walt's Hitching Post. Love the food. It's my favorite restaurant of all time. Since I've been going there since I was a kid, the new owners have made it even better. They don't have my information. And I've told the one owner this numerous times, and it cracks me up because I go there 3 to 4 times a year. My birthday, my parents' anniversary, because my dad literally calls me the week before his anniversary and says, hey, you know what next week is, right? I'm like, I have no idea. What? He's like, it's your mom and I's anniversary. I'm like, oh, you want to go to Walt's? That'd be great. Every year. It's like a ritual. And then we go every year for my daughter's birthday. She likes Walt's. So we go 3 times a year. We spend $250 every time. That's $750. If Walt's had my name and phone number and email address, they could invite me more often. And if I went 5 more times a year at $250, $1,250, I guarantee you there's 100 Matts out there. That's $100,000 in sales that are being left on the table. That's how all marketing should work, is that every dollar a business spends on marketing shouldn't be to acquire me to come to your restaurant. It should be to acquire my information. Once you have my information, you learn about me, you can text me, email me, message me, retarget me on Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube, ESPN. That's what I tell people to do. So third party's no different. When you're using Uber Eats, you need to figure out, how do I find out who this Uber Eats customer is? Number one, a lot of people don't realize this. When we ordered Uber Eats from Max Pizza, they got a message that had my address and my phone number and probably my email. Scrape that data off of there. There's a way to scrape that data through a couple tools. They get an email is what they get. There's a third-party tool called Zapier. Zapier is an automation tool. I don't know if you ever heard of it, Scott. A lot of non-techie guys haven't. So
I have, yeah. Just recently looking at, learning more about the automation and trying to help businesses. And so I definitely I'm aware, yes.
Okay, so what Zapier is, I want you to imagine you're driving down 75 in Northern Kentucky, and you're going to get off at the Mall Road exit. Zapier is that expressway ramp. 75's here, Mall Road's here, there's this big ramp. Zapier is, you've got your Gmail account, which pulls in the Uber Eats orders. You've got your email marketing system over here. Well, Zapier can connect the two, that every time you get a Gmail from your, like I always tell my clients, give Uber Eats a different account. They set up a, XYZ restaurant at third party at gmail.com. You can, in Zapier, map that email because those are all mapped. Uber Eats email comes the same way every time. All the information there. And so you can learn in Zapier what that information is. So now all of a sudden, Matt Plapp orders from your restaurant. That email comes into your Gmail. That triggers Zapier. It adds it to your constant contact account. So now you've got my information. Now you send me an email thanking me for ordering Uber Eats. And by the way, click here to join our VIP club. So you just took the money, it just cost you $9 in lost sales because you paid a 30% commission to Uber Eats. But now you got my information through that technology you set up, and you put them into this email program. You put them into a text program. You put them into a messenger program. There's a lot of cool ways to do that. That's what I encourage people to do, is how do you get them? There's nothing wrong with ordering third party, but how do you get them off of third party? Because you don't want me coming back every time. The other aspect of it, and this, I just did a video on this today, I don't know if you saw it or not. The one thing I'm blown away by, I've never gotten a surprise from a company on an order. And I did a video today and I said, imagine if you took your order and you put a payday candy bar in there, 2 of them, and you put a little bow around with a letter and said, hey, we know paydays have been hard to come by with the current conditions and a lot of people unemployed. We appreciate you spending your money with our restaurant. Here's our version of a payday for you. Thanks for your business. Nobody's expecting it. And they're like, oh, I mean, this costs $1 in candy bars. If you're La Rosa's has, you ever had the chocolate chip cookies at La Rosa's, by the way?
I have, yes.
Pretty freaking good. And so, excuse my French. And so you take those cookies, probably cost them 30 cents. I don't know. I'm not a restaurant. I don't know how much it costs, but I'm going to guess 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents. And every order that goes out, change it every day. Mondays, 2 free cookies. Tuesdays, a cinnamon stick. Wednesdays, they're one location in Florence. They have French 2 candy bars in there. Make your people go, oh my gosh, I'm going to order there more often. What's going to come the next time? You can spend $1 or $2 to acquire that future order because nobody else does it. You know, that's the one thing I find, that most businesses, nobody does anything different. Every pizza I get delivered, I mean, when you order food, and I'll ask you this question, when you order food from your favorite restaurant, you expect it to come hot and be really good, correct?
I do, yeah. And, hot, good, fast, efficient, all that stuff.
And when it does, none of that wows you. That's what you expected. So the only way to be wowed, like people say, oh, we're going to wow people with our delivery, with our hotness, with our freshness, with our ingredients. That's what they expect. If you can wow them with something else. I mean, I've never gotten a pizza order and there've been something for free. Hey, Matt, it's tough times. We understand that. We appreciate you turning to our pizza company. By the way, here's a free dessert pizza on us. Thank you for your business. That's going to stick in my mind. And so in 3 or 4 days when my kids go, hey, Dad, what's for dinner? And my wife's like, I'm not cooking. I made lasagna last week. I'm done for 2 weeks. I go, let's get this pizza company. It's going to be top of mind. It's going to stick out. I'm going to feel pulled to that brand. The problem is nobody does it. When we had our boat dealership, we had the dealership for 9 years. We were one of the top. We were number 3 Yamaha outboard dealership in the country after 4 years. We did about $15 million a year in annual sales at our peak. And by the way, I understand, I didn't say this earlier on, but I understand the pain restaurants are going through right now. We were selling our boat dealership in 2008. We had it lined up. It was going to be done off our books the summer of 2008. I was going to be 32 years old, my agency going in a 7-figure check in my pocket. That check ended up being negative because the economy crashed before everything closed. And I understand the pain that these businesses are going through. I lost $1 million in my 30s at that time. My dad did too. That was the bigger pain for me, was watching my dad in his 60s, who was retiring, all of a sudden go, oh crap, what are we going to do? So I've been through that pain. But when we had our boat dealership, within 3 years, we became the #1 fishing boat dealership in the country. And we were doing millions online. This is back in 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, selling millions of dollars of boats online. The way we got big was I came up with a goal. My goal was for every fisherman that I could meet to have a $25 gift card in his wallet at all times. And the first year I did it, I gave out 30,000 in gift cards. And my accountant told me I was crazy. Matt, you just gave out 30 grand in gift cards. I said, well, let's do this. I got a system in place. When I did it the second year, let's track them. I'm going to prove you. You prove to me I'm an idiot. I'll prove you I'm not. Well, we tracked them and we found that 30 grand in gift cards generated over $1.2 million in sales. And 60% of them were never redeemed. So the numbers went way down. But if you looked at it, basically every fisherman within 3 or 4 hours in Northern Kentucky had a gift card to our store. And on a weekly basis, one of them would walk in and jokingly go, well, I came here with this $25 gift card to buy a gallon of oil. I saw a brand new Triton out front. I got to have it. I'm leaving with a $40,000 boat. And so restaurants the same way. You've got to find a unique way to get in their mind or wallet. And that's just what most of them aren't doing. Most of them aren't doing unique stuff.
No, I think, one thing I've been thinking as well, looking at this, the world, and myself being a recruiter, but there's change. You have to adapt, right? One of the big words you hear right now is pivot. Like yourself, I'm built on relationships, and I bought a franchise for 20 years. Been in business for 1 year, and that's the plan. It's just to reach out, and the couple things that I've noticed, going forward is, as I mentioned before, trust, cleanliness, and second, value. And you mentioned, value being an aspect, and myself being a strategic partner, it's helping those companies that I help recruit for, think outside the box, be there more than just, hey, let me help fill a position. I definitely want to understand the business, their philosophy, in no better way than value and sharing that. So, some of the things that I've thought about that you mentioned is, a payday bar, or some of these companies, maybe like a GameWorks, or a company that's that doesn't have a menu, and they're brought in. How do you get back people? So one option I was thinking of, I'm just curious about this, is if you've got a database, right, and you have parties or whatever you have, maybe reaching out to those clients and sending a free pizza, or sending something that they're not thinking of, or maybe it's a Long John's or a Frickers or a La Rosa's, Gold Star, Skyline. Either adding something, here's chili, but here's our ad for free, a burrito, whatever it might be, that's different, because you've got the cost of Uber Eats, $7 to $10 a person, right? You've got your 30% costs. Well, if you kick in something free, and maybe start a if you do burritos for a week, see if people start ordering burritos the next week, or whatever it might be. So I want to get your thoughts on that, like the whole delivery aspect of things, like adding value.
Yeah. So the big thing I think that restaurants need to realize, and I don't necessarily know it's a huge pivot, as much as they need to figure out how to recreate that lost memory. And what I mean by that is, I was telling somebody this the other day that they have Taco Tuesday, and they're in a spot where a lot of office workers show up every Tuesday with 10, 15, 20 people from the office, and they have Taco Tuesday. It's like a tradition. This place has hundreds and hundreds of people come in. Well, Taco Tuesday hasn't happened for 6 weeks at this point right now. It's not going to happen for probably another 2 weeks. So if it hasn't happened for, let's say, 6 weeks or 8 weeks by the time, maybe 10 weeks by the time these restaurants open that dining room up, is that Taco Tuesday going to happen again? Because people have forgotten about it. People are in different patterns. Some people aren't going to be going back to work in the office. I've already heard from so many friends of mine that have always worked in corporate America in downtown Cincinnati. And they're like, Matt, I've saved 2 hours of time every day from not commuting. I get to see my kids now in the morning and afternoon. I don't have gas anymore. I'm actually more productive at home. I will not be going to an office job again in downtown. If I do, I'll quit and find a new job. I'll work from home. So I think there's going to be a lot of things that businesses that rely on that audience of people coming to their restaurant from work. I think you're going to see a big change and shift in that mindset. But I think right now the biggest loss is a lot of businesses aren't planning their next move. They aren't planning, how do I get Matt Plapp back? Like, I'm unique. I'm still coming to my office because there's not a whole lot of reason for me not to. I come here 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I come every Monday and Wednesday. I go 2 blocks down. I get my coffee at Coffee Emporium. I come up here. My routine the last 2 years, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, has been to grab a coffee, sit down at Coffee Emporium. I sit there for about an hour. I plan my day. I network with people, that kind of stuff. And then from there, hold on a second. Let me change something here. Phone's a little loud. I got a meeting that's waiting on me in a couple minutes. But if I wasn't doing that, like I go to Coffee Emporium, like, yeah, this morning's the first time I've actually seen people there this week. Monday and Wednesday, there's nobody there. I walked in, got my coffee, left. Nobody there at all. Well, there's a lot of people that in 8 weeks after might have literally been looking at their checkbook and going, oh man, why do we have $200 more this month? Because there's friends, like I don't really have a budget. I'm probably pretty stupid on that point. I just kind of know what I should spend and shouldn't. But there's going to be a lot of spouses that go, hey, how come we have $300 more this month? Oh, you didn't buy a coffee every day at Coffee Emporium. Oh, look, when you go back to work, maybe you should do something different. So what I think right now needs to be happening, and this is a huge missed opportunity, is businesses need to connect with their customers to rekindle those thoughts right now. I had a client today I talked to. I said, dude, I want you to get on there and I want you to start making Facebook posts each week with a different part of the restaurant, a different chair, a different angle, a different topic. What person do you miss coming here with every week? What menu item do you miss the most? Come up with a way to tell a story and get people to go, oh my gosh, I missed that. Like there's a Mexican restaurant up the street from my house that my wife and I have already said at the same time, like we did one of those like Jinx, we both said, what's the restaurant you can't wait to go sit down at? It was El Napao up in, right where 42 and Industrial Road intersect in Florence. That's our, we can't recreate that at our house. I can't order 40 bags of chips. Wish I could. But, I think you've got to find a way on social media to keep connecting with that audience that's not coming in anymore, and then kind of rekindle those thoughts and rekindle that atmosphere and rekindle them thinking about it, so that in 2 or 3 weeks, when it's back to open, they're thinking, I can't wait to go there.
No, that's good. I know your time's valuable, so I just want to kind of recap everything here and what companies can do now and going forward. So obviously social media, the 2 biggest things that I see, just reading about every restaurant magazine I can, and being on top of coronavirus and whatnot, and having friends in the government just sending me different feeds. And 1 is social media, 2 being data. I think those are 2 of the biggest things that are going to push, not only now with, think about Zoom, think about all these things that are digital now, just in a month's time, how that's expanding. That's not going to go away. We're in a digital age and it's going to continue. It's happened now, it's going to continue. So you've got your social media, your data. Those are the 2 biggest points to gather that, as well as, relationships, connecting, value, trust. Those are the core values that need to be implemented into that program. So ultimately, when it comes to kind of bringing that full tilt to delivery, either A, if you do it yourself, great, make sure you're getting data connected. If you're using third party, make sure you're finding a way to get that data so you could use it yourself to grow. So it's either third party to your data, or whether it's adding third party, it's all a matter of connecting the data and then sharing and bringing people back to yourself. Does that kind of ring true to your thoughts?
That's all you have. Like I'm looking through my pizza books. I know there's a chapter in here that has a QR code that it grabs an audience. I can't remember what chapter it is, but I know it's in here somewhere. Of course, there it is. So like this is something we built for Rapid Fire Pizza, that this is something simple. Every pizza that leaves there, join our VIP club, get a free pizza, scan this QR code. Almost every phone has native to the camera QR codes. You can also do what's called a rebranded URL. Like one of our clients out on the West Coast, a pizza chain called Coconut Kenny's, we have kenny's.live/. And so we have a rebranded URL that doesn't go anywhere except for Facebook Messenger for this promotion. So if somebody types in kenny's.live/VIP, I think that's the code, it goes to Messenger, and then it says, hey, and now granted, when they see that somewhere, they're being told what it's going to do. Hey, go to this URL, scan this code to get a free pizza. You'll be redirected to Facebook Messenger to join, and we'll ask you 3 questions. And those 3 questions are email, phone number, birthday. 92 to 94% give us their email. 88% give us their phone number. 82% give us all 3. So if we get 1,000, like they get around 2,000 people a month join their program, and of those 2,000, 1,800 give about everything. If you're not gathering data, every dollar you spend, you should think, how can I spend this dollar to get somebody's information? Because at the end of the day, if all you get is them to come visit your restaurant, that's hope and pray. You're hoping and praying Matt Plapp comes back again. Walt Hitching Post is hoping and praying I come back 3 times this year. I haven't been once yet. And it's my favorite restaurant. Now, granted, March and April are off the books because of what's going on. But who knows what happens in May? I get busy. June, I forget about it. July comes around and I'm traveling. It might be September before I come. Now they just went from getting $750 to $1,000 from me to getting $250 because they hoped and prayed that Matt Plapp would come back. It's my favorite restaurant. I've not eaten at during this whole thing. Why haven't I eaten there? I've told myself I'm not eating there because 1, they haven't made a concerted effort to reach me. And 2, it's out of my way. I mean, it's not convenient for me to go get pickup food, or, I don't even know if they deliver. I can't imagine they deliver a great ribs and steak, but who knows? But the third part is I also don't have an emotional connection there. They're a product I enjoy. but I don't have a emotional connection. Like, oh, I'll finish with this. I got to hop on this call. Is that I told a client of mine this the other day. I told a bunch of them. We have a private group for all of our clients that we consult for, and they consult each other because that's important. A lot of business owners don't get out of their kitchen, so to speak. You don't get out of your office and talk to your exact person in a different business to get ideas. And so I saw one of our clients who does a great job called Fatty Smokehouse. I'm going to look them up on Facebook, Fatty Smokehouse. They do an amazing job, one location barbecue restaurant. They highlight an employee of the week every week, and they've been doing it for a while. And I told them, I said, take it a step farther. Not only highlight that employee, but because you're doing curbside and that employee is delivering the curbside, why don't you every day, and they haven't done this yet, they're contemplating it, but I give ideas, and of course, I'm a marketing guy. Not all my ideas make complete sense. You got to throw a bunch against the wall to get the good ones. But I said, why don't you every day or two come up with what that special is? So, hey, this is my delivery guy, Kenny. He goes to a local church. He's from this high school. He's got 2 kids. He's married. He loves this community. I asked Kenny when he came in today, what if he could have anything to take home for dinner tonight, what would it be? And this is the meal. It's $29. It's these items. And guess what? Kenny's going to bring it to your car when you come by today. So when you order online, order the Kenny deal. Kenny is going to bring it to your car, and every tip you give is going to support his family. You make that type of emotional connection with your customers, it's next level. That's why people aren't eating like me. I haven't been to Wendy's or McDonald's or Burger King or Subway, places that I always considered a cheap, easy meal. I've only been to Chipotle once. And I used to be like, I eat at Chipotle and Hothead 2 or 3 times a week. I like Hothead's toasted burritos better than I like Chipotle, but there's a Chipotle next to my gym, and there's a Chipotle next to my house, closer to the Hothead. But I eat Chipotle once or twice each a week up until March 1st. I've eaten Chipotle once. Why? Because they don't have an emotional connection to me that lets me know that it's helping somebody locally. It's a national company. I've eaten at Hothead a million times because 1, it's a client. 2, I know the people that own the locations. And 3, I know people that work in the locations.
No, I tell you what, Matt, I appreciate it. I know you've got to go. Just going to ask you one last question because they kind of wrap everything up. So we've got our local, a lot of right now is your local. Let's help the local. A lot of the business owners are actually franchise owners who may be local, but, we just know the names. We don't connect that, myself being a franchise owner, even though I might buy, I live here. So when you've got all these pizza places, Papa John's, La Rosa's, Snappy, and then you've got the burgers, you've got Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, then you've got your non-traditional, I mentioned like GameWorks or a bar or place that has food. If you're one of those 3, different segments, but going forward, now that everybody can order, it's a different world. What would you recommend for any different segment? Obviously, connecting yourself being a marketer, what can they do to kind of start the process, to collect the data, to make sure they're where they need to be with third party going forward, and kind of end with that?
So have a tool to collect information. The number one way you can get people to give you their information is to engage them on social media. We've got a client of ours right now. It's up to 8,000 comments on a Facebook post asking people their favorite pizza topping. It tells them, hey, what's your favorite pizza topping? Comment below, and we're going to send you a free pizza through Facebook Messenger once you enroll in our program. 8,000 people commented on this post on Facebook. So it got them a bunch of engagement. It got them a bunch of people in Facebook Messenger, got them an opt-in to their program. You've got to have a tool, a mechanism to capture somebody's data. And if you don't have that, you're just hoping and praying that the next visit happens. Whereas if you get their information, you can set up the expected next visit. Hey, thanks for using this pizza promo. On your next visit, click here to get a mystery free item. Now you've got next week's purchase already. So that's the biggest thing. You've got to hit data. Data is the most underutilized item. And then a lot of companies also aren't using the data they have. Coffee Emporium is a good example down here. They've got my cell phone and my email in their point of sale. They never text me. All they gotta do is text me. I mean, how many people aren't going to Coffee Emporium right now because they're not working downtown, but are drinking coffee at home and haven't thought about buying coffee from Coffee Emporium to brew at home? I bought a bag this morning, $27. What if they sent a text message out to those people? Hey, we know a lot. Their point of sale shows when they've been in. So, hey, you guys haven't been in a month because I'm guessing you're working from home. We sure miss you. By the way, we're doing a special, buy 2 pounds of ground coffee, get the 3rd free. Come see us today. Those people are like, oh man, I didn't think about it. They drive downtown, they get a cup of brewed coffee, they get a couple pounds of ground coffee, they go home. The point of sale data is an item that most restaurants forget completely about. And if you're using a Toast and some of those brands, that's in there. It's just waiting to be used.
No, I think that's great, Matt, because one of the things I've been thinking about is automatic delivery. They do it all the time with retail. Why not set up automatic delivery every Friday at 6 o'clock? We're going to set you up. We're going to bring this. So there's so many options, and you've been a wealth of information and value. So just lastly, if you wouldn't mind telling everybody how they can reach you, and we appreciate it.
I'm easy to reach. Matt@mattplapp.com is my email address. Mattplapp.com is my website. And if you wonder, this is going to be the new thing, the fist bump. There's no more handshakes, but it's not a fist bump. It's an MP, Matt Plapp. So people always ask me, they see me wearing orange all the time. And it's just because I'm always wearing my gear. But mattplapp.com is the easy way to reach me. I'm an open book. If you want a free book, email support@mattplapp. I'll make sure my assistant gets our publisher to mail them out to you. One of each, but we're local. And something you can also, I haven't announced this a whole lot yet. I think I might've told you, we've got a website, restaurantmarketingbailout.com. We're going to be helping 500 restaurants free of charge on a 60-day relaunch program that I've created that I think is going to, and I know is going to help restaurants prepare for this change and then get their customers to come back more often after this, the doors open up. So if you have a restaurant out there, that's interested, we got limited to 500. Most of those are coming from referral relationships from vendors we work with, but if you, and some of the state associations we work with, but if you have anybody that's interested, because them, I'll talk to them.
Great, man. I'll tell you, I'll definitely follow up to get more information on that. And I think we might have one last question maybe coming in, or actually, no, a couple of big thank yous from everybody. So Matt, your time's precious. Thanks again. Always great value, and have a wonderful day.
Cool. Thanks, guys. See you.